What's going on, guys and gals? You have arrived at your destination, Geek Boulevard. Your one and only host, Steve, is here to provide his review of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I saw the film on Sunday and just wanted to touch on some of the positives, the negatives, and my overall score. Now, first off, let me start by saying that I'm not a die-hard Transformers fan, but I have seen the first 4 Transformers films as well as Bumblebee. The first Transformers is still one of my favorite action movies. The film is directed by Stephen Cable Jr., director of Creed 2. It is rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 7 minutes. The synopsis of the film goes like this. Optimus Prime and the Autobots take on their biggest challenge yet. When a new threat capable of destroying the entire planet emerges, they must team up with a powerful faction of Transformers known as the Maximals to save Earth. I think most of us can agree that the Transformers franchise has been pretty much run into the ground by Michael Bay with his weird directing style and very unfunny humor. The franchise was in much need of a reset, let's be honest here. Bumblebee was that refreshing reset. Transformers Rise of the Beasts continues the storyline from where Bumblebee left off, this time taking place in the 90s. Now, I will be getting into spoilers later in this review, so I will put a disclaimer in the video when that happens, so if you have not seen the film and want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the end of the video where I give my overall thoughts and score. The human cast in this film was by far the most underwhelming. Main stars Anthony Ramos from In the Heights and Dominique Fishback from Judas and the Black Messiah and Swarm on Amazon Prime, both phenomenal in their craft I might add, were not written very well, and I honestly did not care about their characters when the credits rolled. Ramos plays Noah, who is someone down on his luck who is a former soldier trying to afford to get health care for his sick brother. You wouldn't know he's a soldier as his backstory is only touched upon literally for a few seconds and never brought up again. Fishback plays Elena, an artifact researcher and intern at a museum who is thrust into this grand adventure of uniting 2 ancient keys that can get the Autobots back to Cybertron but can also bring an ancient evil to Earth. Elena was not given much to do outside of just running and screaming and providing backstory on ancient locations from time to time, so I was disappointed by that. The special effects here are definitely questionable at times. There's a sequence that takes place in an exotic location where humans are interacting with the Autobots, and you can just tell that there's a green screen as the lighting doesn't match with the environment at all. It was a little jarring to see that. The writing is another issue, as it is written by Joby Harold, whose credits are spotty at best. He was the showrunner for Obi-Wan Kenobi and writer of Army of the Dead. Also, he wrote many jokes that just fell completely flat for me, and I don't remember a single chuckle that I made throughout this viewing. Pete Davidson is in the film as the voice of the Autobot Mirage. Honestly, he was probably the saving grace for this film. He does teeter on annoying at times, but he's written in such a lovable way that you just can't hate him no matter how much you want to. We have another race of Transformers called Maximals, and I thought their role in the film was actually pretty well done. After it was over, I wanted to dig up more research on these guys as they were the most compelling to follow. Now let's get into the villain of this chapter, and that is the faction called Terrorcons, who are led by their leader Scourge, who is an incredibly one-note villain with no motivations other than to serve his master. This is where spoilers are going to come up, so skip ahead to the end of this video if you want to go in as blind as possible. Scourge serves Unicron, a planet devourer who is looking for an ancient key that will bring him to Earth so he can eat it all up. A lot of that reminds me of the plot of Rise of the Silver Surfer, in fact, which is pretty odd. Bumblebee returns from his solo outing, and he actually gets killed off about halfway into the movie, only for them to bring him back for the final act, which made absolutely no sense to me because why kill him off at all if you're going to bring him back later? This happens a lot in action movies to kind of motivate the characters to work together, but it just seems so lazy and unnecessary. In the climax of the film, when the Autobots and Noah and Elena are trying to put a stop to Scourge from bringing Unicron to Earth, Mirage gets seriously injured in the process while Noah remains helpless in the moment. Then there's this very cheesy, inspirational speech to get back up that his brother says to him over a walkie-talkie, and I just sat there rolling my eyes. But that's not all. Mirage takes it upon himself to become an exosuit for Noah. When Noah basically became Iron Man in that moment, I literally said out loud, "What?" and such confusion because apparently that's a thing. Upon doing some research, that did happen in the original cartoon, but there was no explanation leading up to that moment, so it just came off as weird. In the final scene, there's an Easter egg that confirms the G.I. Joe franchise exists in this universe, which teases a crossover in the next film should it get made, because everything has to be in a universe now. Even that wasn't enough to save this movie. Overall, was the film a fun time? Sure, it's robots fighting each other. That always gets butts in seats. But even with my expectations lowered, I should have lowered them further before seeing this. The bad writing, the questionable CGI, characters that I don't care enough about. Was it the worst Transformers movie ever? No, but it definitely comes close. I'm giving Transformers Rise of the Beasts a score of 2 out of 5 stars. What I want to know is, what did you think of Rise of the Beast if you've seen it? If you haven't, does this review deter you a bit, or do you just want to see robots fight each other? And if so, great, nothing wrong with that. Where would you rank Rise of the Beast on your list? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel where I talk all about video games and movies. Until next time, keep it classy and keep it geeky.